Well, here we are. Time now for us to get into the news review. We'll be joined shortly by Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, Director for the Center for European Studies. But we have quite a stack of newspapers this morning, and we'll be getting right into them as we bring you the latest from the papers. So we start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Boost for SMEs as Development Bank Ghana takes off. Now, the Development Bank Ghana has begun operations with an initial government equity investment of $250 million. Apart from the government's initial investment, the bank has also enjoyed some investment from the European Investment Bank, which has provided 170 million euros. The World Bank, which has given the DBG, that is $225 million, and the African Development Bank, which has given a grant of $40 million to the DBG. The coming on board of the DBG is in fulfillment of the government's plan of increasing the number of banks that will support small and medium-scale enterprises. The bank's primary focus will be to support enterprises in agribusiness, information and communications technology, manufacturing, and those businesses that offer high-value services to scale up. And that is the latest we can bring you from that story. Whether it will live up to expectation, we have Exim as an example. We have the CBG after that consolidation and all of that. Whether they will yield the needed results is one thing would have to wait for time. Time always tells. The president's charge, though, is setting the operations of the bank in motion at a ceremony. He charged the new bank to work to transform SMEs into well-functioning, formal, and strong corporates. And if we had indeed done that in this country, our economic situation definitely would be better and would be faring better against COVID-19 and the Ukraine-Russia endeavor. Well, let me welcome Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. I see you, Doc. Good morning.
I see you too, my brother. Good morning.
It's a pleasure having you join the conversation with us today. Hello, Doc.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. I just wanted to find out, though, you have something interesting on your WhatsApp as your, not your status, but your, that little wording that we have on WhatsApp. Can you explain it to us?
Which one is that?
The one that has Obede at the end.
Obede.
Okay, so
it's a Gwang language. My father's mother is a Gwang. So it means you can do against it, or you can do without it. Obede.
Okay,
Obede.
so the full thing is
you can't. Simply you can't. So all that I'm saying is that if God is with you, God is on your side, there's nothing that anybody can do against you. You can't. And unyamene, God is king. All right. If God is a king in your life, who can do anything against you? Obede. It's my language. Yeah.
Obede.
Okre language. Obede. Okre language. Yeah. You can't. You can't.
I think I'll add Obede to my because
it's a book. Somebody wrote a book using that title, Obede. You can't.
Right. Anyway, good one there, on which note we start the conversation. But there's this boost for SMEs, and yet another bank being set up. We've had the Development Bank, we've had the Exim Bank, we've had CBG on the back of the consolidation of banks. We now have the DBG, the Development Bank Ghana, and we're pumping in some 250 million in terms of investment equity. Your reaction to that?
It's a good news. I commend the government that we have such a project. We need this because there are a lot of SMEs that we need to strengthen to give hope to this economy and the youth of this country. So a decision like this is in the right direction, and I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to work for us, provided, as you really caution, that we are able to do the needful, maintain it, and let it achieve its goal. More often than not, we shy away from the goal and we do things that tend to undermine the very existence of the project that we have. I'm sure this time around, we have learned our lessons and we are going to be vigilant and then be responsible and maintain this bank. The long and short of it all is that when we are able to do it well, employment will be catered for and people will have means of livelihood. And above all, we'll be able to develop businesses. We need more businesses so that this economy will stand on its feet.
We most definitely do. And of course, we know that the new development bank, our commitment is 250 million from government with a total committed capital of about 750 million, both as debt and equity. Let's take a look at police admit poor handling of Islamic SHS demonstration. Acting Regional Commander, 2 others interdicted. Your quick reaction to that? It's a story on page 13. The Kumasi Islamic Senior High and developments there. I was sad, really saddened when I saw students, basically panting and all kinds of things, because I'm sure they didn't expect the firing of gunshots. And when your life flashes before your eyes like that, it's never a pleasant moment. The IGP has been talking, but some are saying, look, there are too many of these things happening. In this instance, no one died, but someone easily could have died. And what is this penchant of the Ghana Police Service for the use of live ammunition? These are children, so to speak. Was there even need for this? Your reflection on that?
I think it's a very unfortunate situation. Very, very unfortunate, because the security people will tell you that you are in a friendly environment. The school environment is friendly, unless, of course, you have some intelligence to the contrary.
But the students, though, at a point, to be fair, pelted them, stones.
Oh, yes. You should expect these things when you are talking about, controlling of crowds and all that. And police have been trained professionally to handle this. And more so when you are dealing with kids, children who are, armless. You need to be extra careful. I'm sure they were not professional enough. They were not, because look, what happened is a sorry story. But I'm happy that the IGP has quickly jumped to the situation and has, calmed people's nerves, and we are getting some hope there. Why am I saying that? Because in such situations, you normally see the police coming to the rescue of their own and all that. We are not seeing this, that in this instance. So it gladdens my heart that, yes, the body that has been tasked to look into the matter will do a good job. And then IGP, knowing who he is, will act swiftly. His initial action is commendable. And I have also listened to Parliament, the effort that they are also putting in place to make sure that we don't have a reoccurrence of this. What Parliament want to do is also a good one. We commend them. All that I'm saying, that we need to let institutions work. When institutions work, you will see some of these actions coming in handy the very moment we see such situation. But it is a lesson for the police to learn that all is not well, even though they are doing their best. I always commend security people because they have a very difficult task. But in spite of all this, they do their best. This, we think that did not go well. So the police will take notes and learn the lessons that need to be learned, and then do the needful when such situations arise.
Let's look at some other stories. Graphic Business Stanbic Bank breakfast meeting. We brought you that live yesterday. Placed premium on agric for jobs. Dr. Edu Owusu-Sako, the economics lecturer, University of Ghana, made those comments. This brings to mind some of what, just reading the headline. Back then, we had our own, agricultural base. Long before we became a major producer of cocoa, rubber, the rubber tree, rubber plants, and the extraction was our major produce. We moved from one to the next until we settled on cocoa, which became our, biggest, export, until we found gold as well, which later took over, or we started exploring gold as, and then it took over. But we became the world's largest producer. Then there was the glut, and then, we somehow lost out and then fell to the Ivory Coast. But are we placing that much of a premium on agriculture, especially when it comes to the creation of jobs? Because guess what? We have very arable land. We're blessed with that. At least while climate change is still biting, we still have some good rainy seasons and all of that. But with agriculture playing the role it has and continues to do in our economy, do you feel we're giving it enough prime of place?
My brother, this is one of the unfortunate stories that we continue to tell in this country. If you look at the political economy of this country, there's no doubt in my mind that we don't have to shy away from agriculture. We do that at our own peril. I have an uncle who is 92 years old, and he keeps telling me, Kwame, what are you people doing about agriculture? All right. He said, you can only save this country when you have agric developed to the highest. There was a time he said that, can you lead me to the president? That was the time of Mr. Mahama and all that. So that I go and tell him that, please put more emphasis on agric. Back to the issue. Look, we have seen it in the area of mining. It has helped us. It has not helped us because you know the conversation there. But we have seen agric, if for nothing at all, is able to sustain us. We are able to get food. We are able to get jobs out of this. And in no time, this very buoyant, economic enterprise, we have shied away from this. We have shied away from this, and I'm so surprised. Look, there are a lot we can do in agriculture to cure this problem of unemployment. There was a time I decided that let me go around and see what I can do to help this country from my own little angle. And I decided that, can I go into rabbit rearing? My brother, in no time, I had over 800.
Wow.
Recently, I decided that at my backyard, because I saw a project at Adenta where the MCE was helping people to, develop fish and all that. I took advantage of that project and developed. If you come to my house now, I am now harvesting a lot of fishes in my backyard. What are we doing? We have our lands here are arable, very fertile. What are we doing? We are importing food from a desert area. Isn't it a shame on us that we are close to the desert? God has blessed us. We don't have desert here. We have all our lands are arable, and yet we still import food from what? Desert areas. This is a sorry story. Ali Mazuri would describe it as a paradox that we are rich and yet poor. I mean, rich in terms of natural resources. Look at all the resources that enable the first world to develop are here. Gold, minerals, land, and what have you. And yet we are poor. We are not thinking right. I think so. I'm sorry to say that, but we are not thinking right. And we are not hungry enough. All the time when we are in difficulty, people come to our aid, support us with food, support us with what resources. And we think that those Father Christmas will be around all the time. Let us remember that the person who provides lunch always has an agenda. He will hold you to ransom when you least expect that thing to happen. We need to get the basis right and think that agric is the backbone of everything. Growing up in secondary school, we saw a lot of agricultural farms in all the secondary schools. We have abandoned them, and now we look for private people to supply food simply because somebody can get his cut on the issue.
Right.
Look, we need to be very patriotic enough and think that this country, God has blessed us with everything, and that agric is the way to go. Agric is the way to go. Once we drum this message very well in the ears of everybody, then we are combining it with resources and knowledge. I have no doubt in my mind that the enterprise will become attractive to the youth, and then people will go in there and then they start life. And who knows?
Right.
This will be the game changer.
Let's look at the middle spread of the Daily Graphic newspaper. DVLA designates 126 eye testing centers. World Blood Donor Day commemorated, and the country yesterday joined the global community to commemorate this year's World Blood Donor Day with a call on eligible persons to voluntarily donate blood to save lives. Now, Ghana card not replacement for biometric passport is the final bit I'll look at in the Daily Graphic. And the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Shirley Ayoko Botche, has said that the Ghana card is not a replacement for the country's biometric passport. According to her, the card could not be used to travel to other countries within or outside ECOWAS. Quoting her, it must be underscored that the passport, together with the travel certificate, is the only approved travel document for Ghanaians that is internationally recognized. I saw a post by a gentleman recently, I think either exiting or trying to enter the UK, and he made it clear that the Ghana card couldn't be used as a passport. Maybe some finality to this entire debate, especially on the back of the comments sometime back by the vice president. Your thoughts?
I support this biometric, passports and all the digitization process. I am for that. For a long time, my hope was that we'll be able to quicken the process and let the system work as regard the use of the Ghana card. Because if you look at well-developed economies, they hardly use passports. So within the sub-region, if we can encourage and develop the national card for us to use it within the sub-region, why not? It's a good thing. I was a student in Switzerland, Geneva, and then we have the Swiss passport the Swiss card that you used to travel around. When I was there, I was just going around Europe and I was cool with that. But if we have not gotten there, that's fine. But I like the government approach that they are quickening the effort and we will get there very soon. So for now, if the minister is saying that that is not a substitute for passport, I agree. Gradually, we will get there. And then all these problems about digitization and then, data will be a thing of the past. Look at when we are going for election. You need to go and register. We need to do this thing. Once the Ghana card, we get it right. It will solve all these problems. And then some of these lingering problems would die off.
On the back page, work on 83-kilometer Savelugu-Wale Road begins. Let's do the Ghanaian Times newspapers. I'll not be touching on those stories we've already looked at, but Ato Forson's letter could not establish LC. Prosecution witness says so. It has to do with the issue concerning ambulances in which Ato Forson has been roped in. Government will continue to push for organic fertilizer use by farmers, Agric Minister affirms. The point is you keep pushing, but what is the result? We also ought to be analyzing that. 3 police officers interdicted over Islamic SHS disturbances. I want to take a quick look at the middle spread of the paper. So Muslim Conference of Ghana demands unconditional apology from India over insulting comments by 2 politicians. And this has raised the topic of Islamophobia one more time with these high-profile officials making very distasteful statements. And there's the call for basically the High Commission here to also express or send through an apology. That is the story there in a nutshell. On page 11, that's where I'll wrap. Mahama, intimidated citizenry will not constitute resource for progress and development. And NPP aspirants file for national positions. Your quick reflections on these two?
Yeah. If you look at what we are experiencing, the first one, can you hit back on the
So Mahama, intimidated citizenry will not constitute resource for progress and development. The former president has postulated that an intimidated citizen will not constitute the appropriate resource for the sustenance of progress, growth, and development of the country. Ghana recently, of course, dropped 30 places to 60th globally and 10th in Africa on the World Press Freedom Index, which is the country's lowest ever ranking in almost 2 decades. He cites the Reporters Without Borders statement, among others. And he's saying that if you intimidate the citizenry, they will not constitute a resource for progress and development. The other story is the MPP aspirants filing for national positions.
Yes, if you look at the story on press freedom, it is a critical index in a democratic enterprise. Any democratic enterprise, you need free press, a press which is independent, it's bold and fearless, all right, so that they can hold government to account. They will not only educate and inform us, but that also serve as a watchdog over government actions and inactions. If you have a press which is intimidated, if you prevent people from criticizing a government, expressing their thought, however painful it will be, then I'm afraid you are undermining the very system that you want to rest your hope with. Let us know that this democracy, people have struggled to bring it to where it is. It did not start today. If you look at the era of the khaki, the military era, look at the battles that people waged to establish press freedom. If you look at the 1992 and aftermath, all right, people continue to fight for press freedom. It is something that we must jealously guard against it. So any effort that tend to undermine, that tend to destroy all this good work, all of us must rise up and criticize and throw it into the lake of fire. We need to be tolerant. And that means that National Commission for Civic Education must be up and doing. It is not the case that they are not doing their work, but they need to quicken their effort to get people, policy, implementers, holders of political power, to everybody, all and sundry, to get to know that we need a free media that will stand the test of time. And when we're able to give such education and we give the essence of having a democracy with a very strong media, this will go down to change some of this attitude. And let politicians also understand that, look, they are nothing but birds of passage. Right. They are flying past the building. They will go away in no time when we go toward the polls. So they should not deceive themselves into believing that, look, once you intimidate, once you harass people because you have power, that's the end. No, it's just a matter of time. When you are out of office, you realize that you see your share size. But that is not what we want. We want democracy to be the only game in town where institutions are strong. Institutions such as what the media will be able to voice out, will be able to speak for the vulnerable, the needy, and all that. That is what we want. If democracy is the path we want to chart, and I believe it is a path, I have no doubt in my mind, irrespective of the fact that democracy has its own problem, I will continue to die for democracy because it is the only game in town.
Let's look at Republic Press newspaper. John Kuma denies securing 50 immigration service slots for constituents. That has to do with the Ghana Immigration Service. He has debunked that roundly, told workers to embark on series of demonstrations against government. Boga MP bounced again as Supreme Court dismisses review application. The 9-member panel presided over by Justice Jones Doche unanimously dismissed the application on grounds that the applicant did not meet the threshold for the court to exercise its discretion in his favor. The minority has said that the courts are being used to sort of allow the MPP to prepare because it keeps pushing things back, to give it time to prepare for a by-election. That is what the minority is alleging. But in other stories, I'll just put all of them together and then you can respond, Doc, to the ones that you want to. Don't adopt paracetamol solutions on Ghana's economy. That's according to Professor Stephen Ade, a friend of mine, and he was speaking at the maiden edition of the Financial Economy Seminar Ghana 2022. That is his take. Don't adopt paracetamol solutions to, getting our economy back on track. And just to wrap with these international stories, Lishansk, Russia, erasing history in Ukraine's dead city, and Taiwan, interestingly, are the US and China heading to war over the island? Those are the questions. So from Professor Ade to Jachikwason and then to those international stories. Quick take?
For Jachikwason, you know my position on this. Let's leave the courts to handle these things. And we will be in a better position to talk about these things after they finish their work. But let me go to handling the economy using a paracetamol approach. A very interesting one. All right. Sometimes I ask myself whether we have those who have what it takes to manage our economy. And I'm not saying this thing with regard to this, era. I'm looking at it from, post-military era. The little that I've seen, the slightest problem we have within the international system, and you see our economy is in shambles. I ask myself, do we have the people who have been trained well to handle it? And sometimes I struggle to find answers. Because you see our leaders, holders of political power, especially those who manage the economy, doing their very best. And then they come and pride themselves having achieved what? Single-digit inflation and all that. The slightest problem, you see them on their knees. Their hands are in the air, mourning and all that. So sometimes I ask myself, do we have those who have been trained properly to handle the economy? I think the economists will answer that question. The second issue is that sometimes I believe that, look, we can save ourselves all this trouble by looking at what works. What are the rules of engagement here? Where we need to cut waste, we shy away from that. Where we need to take bold decisions because of political expediency, we shy away from that. Where we need to be blunt and tell people that this is not doable, but the alternative is the way to go, we shy away from that. So sometimes I ask myself, are we sure we can manage it? Look at another situation. Anytime we are going for election, whether in opposition or in government, political parties convince us into believing that, look, give us power, and when we come, we'll build the economy. Because they've realized that the one of the variables that really influence voter choices, irrespective of party ideology, irrespective of what, all the factors you can think of, is the economy. So everybody is looking forward to hearing a very sound message about how to save the economy. And the very people who say they want to build the economy, truly, when they win power, you see them developing the economy, helping it. When they are going to what? We are going for elections. The very economy we have struggled to build, we tend to destroy them, throwing away all the economic theories, doling out money to voters and all that, destroying the fundamentals. And yet we come back that we want to build the economy. So looking at when we put all together, I'm sorry to say that I have a certain feeling that we are not ready to build the economy. And that is why we use the paracetamol approach, very ad hoc. And then in no time,
it doesn't work for us.
Stare at our faces.
Right.
I believe that if we want to save this country, the first thing we need to, address is to how to build a very solid economy. Once we get that basics right, I think we are good to go.
Let's wrap very quickly with these two. So one from the Daily Guide newspaper, and I'll take another one from the Custodian, and that's how we'll wrap. So it says, Unite Behind National Cathedral Project. Ken Oforiatta, that's on page 6. He talks about the concerns of ordinary Ghanaians. He talks about the building of the National Cathedral being a prudent project. He talks about cost funding concerns. And tied to that, we also have, let me just get this, Dr. Paul Opoku-Mensah, Executive Director or Project Coordinator of the National Cathedral of Ghana. He erroneously suggested in a way that the government of Ghana had at a point facilitated certain boons for the construction of the National Mosque, attempting to equalize. The UMA, Komog of Ghana, has come out forcefully against that, and he's had to issue an apology. For me, I am unapologetic because I honestly feel that in the midst of all the turmoil we are facing, we can ill afford to expend $25 million of seed money, especially when we do not know how much more seed money will be pumped into this $350 million gargantuan project, when there are many hungry mouths to feed and so many other things of essence in our country. The other story is MPP is matchless in road projects, Baumia asserts. But is that really the case? Year 1, 2, 3 of roads. Your quick thoughts. That's in the Custodian newspaper, and it's a wrap.
I'll start with the cathedral issue. All right. I'm not against that project, but the timing is wrong. We have, as you rightly put it, a lot of mouths to feed. Just look at your screens. Time and again, you come across people asking the public virtually to support them, to assist the awards one way or the other with regard to health issues. You will see people, parading in the street, doing nothing. These are energetic people who really want to work, and we don't have jobs for them. All right. There are a whole lot of problems that we face in this country. And you ask yourself, is that our priority for now? I say no, 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 in the sense that, look, if you look at our president, he has a lot of goodwill, and he has good image. I would have thought that we could leverage on this and ask every Ghanaian that, yes, you are paying your taxes, you are doing all, but can you support the president with one city project to build a first-class hospital for the cocoa seller, for the watches seller, who can take his word there free of charge?
Doc, a quick one. Should we then be as leadership, with all the outcry, should leadership be able to say, you know what, let's pause on this project and maybe try to, I mean, is that something you would expect?
Yes, it wouldn't be a bad idea, because look, the problem, the hue and cry about this thing is that initially you and I were in this country, we heard that government was not going to fund this project. And in no time, we are seeing state money getting into this project, all right? We were not told this initially. Two, you ask yourself, there are a lot of problems that we have. Is that the way to go? There are some which are pressing, more pressing than this. Why can't we turn attention to this? So I believe in the call that they can suspend this, and then we pump that money, or we take that money to another sector that will really change the fortunes of this country. And let us remember that COVID is still around, and we are still going to struggle with that. We have heard a report from National Health Service and all that. Right. So we would need more money, and that where we expect to have prudent use of resources, let us make use of that than putting our resources into something that at the moment we don't need. That for me, it is a misplaced priority. And I'm wondering why people want to engage the public in this discourse and saying that that. Look, life is about how you prioritize your issues. Kwame Nkrumah said, and I repeat here, organization decides everything. We should be able to organize ourselves so that we can address our problems.
Doc, another good one. I salute you, and I wish you the best of the day, sir.
I'm grateful for the opportunity. We are ready to serve this country.
And that is Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, one-time lecturer of mine. He is director for the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Up next, stay with us. We serve you sports.